As you can see, I am on the roof. Now, you may be wondering why I am on the roof.
We really aren't.
Well, you see, I was searching all around for new ideas for my fighting game Rift Rumble when I kind of stumbled up here by mistake. But while I'm up here, I guess I can tell you all about what I've added in the last month. Fighters. Fighters are the essence of a platform fighter. I mean, what would Smash Bros. Be without critical characters like Duck Hunt and Inkling? What I'm trying to say is, 2 characters are not nearly enough for any fighting game. Wouldn't you know it, my fighting game, Rift Rumble, only has 2 fighters. So, in this video, I'm going to go over my entire process for designing, programming, and implementing a 3rd character into my game. My process for adding a new character begins with the idea. Before I can start programming a new moveset, I need to know what the fighter's special is. In the case of our new fighter, that special is an attack where the character throws their weapon, and if it hits another player, that opponent swaps places with the new fighter. This makes for an interesting recovery option which relies on hitting another player to work. From there, I opened up Unity and created a new fighter prefab under the normal character prefab. You'll notice this new fighter looks quite odd. This is only temporary art so I could gauge the size of the character. See, all I knew was that I wanted this fighter to be quite large and heavy, since both Astro and Radweld are very fast and light. I thought it'd be a nice contrast for the 3rd fighter to be slow and for their attacks to be long and heavy. Once the base for the fighter existed, I began laying out all the basic code for the new special. This was fairly simple since I was able to reuse a lot of my other projectile code, and the main difficulty was just getting the projectile to fire in any direction. But once that was solved, the special was pretty much ready for testing. Of course, it didn't work right away and I had to fix a lot of weird little issues, but after a while, I was able to get the special to shoot in any direction. The way the projectile direction is handled is by getting the input directions from the player, multiplying them each by a predetermined throw force variable, then normalizing the 2. This is a trick which brings a value between 0 and 1. This allows us to then get a simple reading on the direction the player is inputting. Then I simply multiply all of it by the throw force variable again. Honestly, I feel like this special makes this new fighter possibly my favorite in the game. But now, what weapon should he wield? Oh, I know. How about a scythe? Also, we need a name. Something that fits with this scythe theme. Kind of like the Grim Reaper. Ah, how about that? We'll call him Reaper.
Wait, hold on, Isaac. This was not the deal. You never said I had to stand on the roof. I don't want to be up here. I thought you were the only one who would have to be up here. I'm medically not allowed to be more than 6 feet off the ground. What if I implode? What then, Isaac? That was not the deal.
Anyway, we're gonna call him Reaper, and I'm kind of gonna base all of the art around that idea of the Grim Reaper. Of course, I don't want him to just subscribe to that boring, overused design for the Grim Reaper. I want Reaper to evoke the feel of that, but still be his own character. So I went into the art process with that idea in mind. I wanted Reaper to be inspired by the classical images of death, but not just be another skeleton in a hood. Instead, what I came up with was this large figure, painted in grayscale with a much more angular face mask design compared to Astro and Radweld. Reaper wasn't too hard to make art for, much easier than Astro at least, who was shockingly hard to make art for, I'll be honest. I think this design for Reaper is really cool and really fits with his backstory, which I also wrote around this time. I'll talk more about that later. Now, don't think that this was the first design I came up with for Reaper. In fact, this was like the 10th design I came up with or something. Alright, so like right here, you can kind of see the concept art that I went through with Reaper. You can see a bit of the process I went through. I started, originally it was going to be circular, but I kind of ended up setting on more of a triangular design. And as you can see, I actually ended up going with something similar to number 9 right here, just minus the horns, since I realized the horns just wouldn't fit on the character very well, with where his arms are positioned. Coloring Reaper was easy. I just panned in black and white and made his arms and legs gray. Of course, this would come back to bite me in the ass later because he blends into a lot of the background super well, but that's easy enough to fix with a simple outline some other time. So now Reaper was in the game. All that was left was to animate him and then balance him against the other fighters. First, let's look at how I animated him. The way Unity's animation system works is through keyframes, which are individual frames where I tell the animation where something should be at that point. Then, for the frames between those keyframes, Unity just interpolates the object between them. So, if I had a keyframe on frame 10, where I moved Reaper's arm, on frame 5 his arm would be halfway there. Because of keyframes, animating characters is actually relatively easy for my game. All I have to do is split each character into their individual components, body, arms, and legs, and then using keyframes move and rotate these parts to create convincing animations. The one major difference between Reaper and my other fighters is that Reaper's scythe is a separate object from his arm, while the other characters have their weapons attached to their arm. The reason Reaper's weapon is not attached into his arm is that the scythe is quite long and I want to have plenty of reach, but it would look weird if Reaper was holding it at the bottom all the time. So the best way for me to fix this was to have Reaper's scythe be a separate object from his hand, so that way I could change where in his hand it was during different animations. This also allowed me to do some really cool attacks, such as one where he throws his scythe, it flies forward damaging everything it hits, and then flies back to him and he catches it. Of course, another reason I needed the scythe to be separate was that the special spawns an identical scythe projectile, and I couldn't have there be two scythes on the screen at once. That would just be weird. But overall, I think that Reaper's animations turned out great. Here's a quick look at how they all look in-game. You remember that backstory that I mentioned for Reaper earlier? Well, I don't really either, but my friend told me I should probably come back to it, so, okay, you know that itch.io page I made a while ago, right? Well, on the itch.io page, I gave a quick backstory for each of my characters. For Astro, I said that he is this deadly fighter from across the galaxy, come to use his trusty ray gun to kill you. And, Radwell, I said that she's an awesome sword master from the planet Ooze, and she wields her sword with deadly precision. Well, I thought, damn, now I need something for Reaper. So, what kind of backstory do I give to this super powerful giant guy wielding a scythe? Well, obviously, Reaper came from the other side of the rift, and now he's seeking blood on this side. Now, what is the rift? I have no fucking clue, but I'll tell you what. I will let you know as soon as I figure out what the rift is, and I've implemented it in the game. I will tell you all about it. So, that's really all I've done in the last month. Thank you so much for watching, but before I go, be sure to buy Euclid Valley on Steam. It's really cheap, only $3, promise you it's worth the money, and go check out the Rift Rumble demo on itch.io. Alright, I'm gonna figure out how to get down now. Bye!